Well, welcome everybody to the January 2025 Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Roundtable. It's so good to see everybody here this year. Um, we got another great program here for you tonight. We're going to be talking about scouting for clean waterways. So our agenda is pretty much what we've been doing for the last few years. We'll have, after our opening, we'll have our safety moment, talk about rip current safety. And then we will go into scouting for clean waterways. After that, we have an FAQ from Scott Anderson, who is the chairman of the Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Subcommittee. And we've got some important announcements for you at the end. And then we will move into our closing. After our closing, we'll turn off the recording, and people who want to stay around and chat, we'll keep the line open and everybody can chat. So with that, let us begin. Pledge allegiance, please mute yourself and join me in the pledge. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scout law. The Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. And the outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, to be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation minded. Right. Thank you, everybody. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle for our safety moment.
Yep. So since we'll be talking about scouting for clean waterways, I thought this was a good chance to think about rip current safety as we're playing in those waterways. The U.S. has an enormous amount of coastline. The Great Lakes can also be prone to rip currents. Around docks, fast-moving rivers have undertows or undercurrents, which are very similar. The safety would be very similar to that. So in light of our water themed night, I thought I would do rip current safety. If you want some more information about rip current safety, I put the NOAA website on there that talks about it. So fast facts, rip currents are powerful, narrow channels of fast moving water that are prevalent along the East Gulf and West Coast of the US, as well as the shores of the Great Lakes. Moving at speeds of up to 8 feet per second, rip currents can move faster than an Olympic swimmer. Lifeguards rescue tens of thousands of people from rip currents in the US every year, but it's estimated that 100 people are killed by rip currents annually. If caught in rip current, don't fight it, swim parallel to the shore and swim back to the land on an angle. So the green people are doing it right, the red people are in trouble, and the brown tan people there are getting themselves caught, if you want to think about that. So red is stop. Don't try to fight it or swim against it. Okay, so the green swimmers are the safe way to escape a rip current. Next. Just like our other leave no trace things, Aaron on Scouting had this Blogmaster, but our things stay the same. Know before you go. Check your local beach forecast before you head to the beach. Always swim near lifeguards. Look for warning signs and flags. If you're unsure about the condition, ask a lifeguard and know how to swim before you venture in. Stay calm, float, wave and yell. If you're a good swimmer, swim parallel, wave and yell. There's a common theme there. Call for help. Don't try to be a hero and go out and save someone. Remember our rescue throws from safe swim defense and safety afloat. And stay calm. So stay dry when the waves are high. Know where the rip currents are. They can form in sandbars, especially when waves are 3 feet or greater. Stay clear of the pier. Structural currents can form near piers, break walls, or other structures. And forget the outlet. Outlet currents are found where a river or stream flows into the lake or the ocean. So with that, be safe in the water and have some fun.
Thank you, Michelle. Now it's time for our main presentation, and we've got Dave O'Leary and Michelle Bierstedt will be talking to us. So with that, let me turn it over to you guys and let's learn about scouting for clean waterways.
Yep. So one disclaimer, Dave and Scott was going to do this presentation. He is currently in Cuba. So Dave and I stepped up, and so we may not be able to answer all of your questions, but we're hopeful that this presentation will get you a good start in thinking about Scouting for Clean Waterways, which launched here in January. And it is not a time program, so this is going to occur. It's an initiative for Scouts to make a difference as part of our sustainable development goals. So what Scouting can do? So here's a picture of Cub Scout Pack 167 in Puerto Rico as they participated during Scouts Trash the Trash Day, a global litter collection day held every May. And so the Scouting for Clean Waterways website is set up to be very user-friendly. So you'll notice, depending on what level you are, whether you're a Cub Scout or a Scout, Explorer, Venturer, Ship Crew, or a Council level person, you could actually click on any of these 3 tabs down here at the bottom, and it would take you to there. Since we put it in a presentation, obviously we're not going to click on those tonight. But just know when you go to the website that you'll be able to go right to where you need to be. Next slide, Paul. So first of all, let's understand the initiative. Simply put, it's a nationwide effort to combat waterway pollution and promote environmental stewardship. So think of the ripple effect. Just a small stone creates expanding circles when dropped into water. Each Scout's individual actions can create far-reaching positive impacts on our waterways. Next. So Scouts for SDGs, if you don't know what that stands for, it's Sustainable Development Goals, which is by the World Scouting Organization. So around the globe, Scouts are taking direct action to tackle some of the most pressing challenges facing our planet. Our Scouts asked Scouting America to help them make positive contributions in these efforts. And we're going to start with our waterways. So this will be an ongoing yearly initiative that we hope all units will participate in. There's no required time span. Ideally, we'd like to have the projects done during April, May, and June to be around Earth Day or Scouts Trash the Trash Day, but they can happen anytime throughout the year that units are around their waterways or with local partnerships, or in some cases as an ongoing summer camp experience. Many watershed protection organizations schedule cleanup projects in the late spring or the early fall. And for those of us in the north have found out it's kind of hard to do waterway cleanups in the middle of January. So it depends on where you live as to what the time frame is. Next. So on the website, each of those areas that we talked about get split. So we're going to start with the Cub Scout program. So what Cub Scouts can do, Cub Scouts can learn about aquatic trash and participate in a variety of activities to help remove trash from parks and community areas. Remember that the waterway is not just the water itself, but it's the watersheds, areas, rivers, lakes, streams, bogs, marshes, whatever your area has available. So that website is split. So notice they got the blue boxes here on the bottom. So if you want, we'll start with the first one. Go ahead and hit the next slide, the Learn. So if we were to click that, so that Learn is going to take you to this page, Learn about aquatic trash. Here's a PBS resource on talking to young Scouts about Go Green Litter and our oceans. What is the impact? You might have some den leader questions. What's littering? How can you start that conversation? What do you think happens in the Earth's waterways when they're filled with litter? What are some ways we could help stop with litter? So some story starters, so to speak, to help get the conversation started with our youngest Scouts. Next one. Our Take Action. What are Cubs, dens, and packs going to do to participate in their cleanup activities? For Cub Scouts, these activities should last 1 to 2 hours. Cub dens or packs can organize the activity on their own, or they can participate with community organizations hosting similar activities. Cub Scout families can be included on any Scouting for Clean Waterway project. Scouting for Clean Waterway projects can be held anytime. So Earth Day makes a natural choice. Trash your trash in May makes a natural choice, but it can happen anytime, whatever works in your community, in your den, with your families. Every piece of trash collected and properly disposed of is one less piece of trash that can enter our waterways. The next part, recognize. We have this nice little patch. So you'll notice all throughout the presentation, you have this nice little logo here. Well, the national office made that a patch that will be available at our scouting centers or at scout shops or on the National Scout Shop as well. They should be available here anytime. Check with your local scout shop to see if they have any or can get them ordered yet. Scouting for clean waterway activities may be used to complete a conservation service project for the Champions of Nature Adventures. So keep that in mind as well if you have dens that are working toward Champions for Nature. We'll also talk a little bit, all of the will be able to be loaded in onto Scoutbook. They made a link for that in Scoutbook, as well as there'll be places in community organizations be able to log those, how much trash you collected out as well. So there's great national and international sites. The next blue box, share your story. Enter your pack or den's information on Scoutbook. Post pictures and stories on the Scouting for Clean Waterways Facebook group, and there will be a link to that. Email your stories at cleanwaterscouts@scouting.org. Again, the link for that. Or you can share your stories with your council and local media. Let communities know how Cub Scouts are taking action to reduce aquatic trash and why that's important. Together, let's make a positive impact on our environment and protect our precious water resources for future generations. Join us for Scouting for Clean Waterways. Okay, next. Then the group put together this lovely set of resources. Again, it includes the Waterways, the Scouting for Clean Waterways website, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, where you can email, how to run a project, a quick guide, which is basically this presentation with some additional activities on it to help you promote this within your dens. Next. So for Scouts, Venturers, and Sea Scouts, the same blue boxes are down on the bottom. Here, their Scouts are going to learn about the critical environmental issue, how to develop sustainable practices, and how to take action through community service projects. Here, the information is going to, again, build on what they learned as Cub Scouts. Or within their sustainability merit badge, environmental science merit badge, all help with that as well. Go ahead, Paul. Here we're going to learn about what is marine debris. So think about 12 million metric tons or 12 billion pounds of plastic dumped into the ocean each year. Millions of pounds more is dumped into rivers, lakes, streams, swamps, and associated waterways. But it isn't just plastic. Anything man-made can become waterway or marine debris. The vast majority of our aquatic trash begins its journey to our ocean from the land, sometimes miles away from our water resources. So think about how many marine animals are killed due to plastic marine debris, how many more are killed from fishing line entanglement, poisoning, and loss of habitat. Just as importantly, waterway and marine debris pollute soil, animals bred for consumption ingest the pollution, and affects the waterway and marine debris negatively impacts our economy. Bad for animals, bad for the environment, bad for soil and food, bad for the economy. So this is the homepage that will talk about the why. So again, the initiative, why are we doing this? The next one. Whoops, went too far, there you go. So here's the take action. So here, the service project should last 2 to 4 hours. Bigger kids, longer attention span, more complete time periods. Units can organize service projects on their own, or they can participate with community organizations. Once again, scheduling is up to you, and they'll keep reiterating this. Trash on land frequently becomes aquatic trash, whether it's in your river, your stream, your pond, marshes. I'll collect all of that trash. Next. recognize. Participants can earn the patch. There's also a printable certificate on the Scouting for Clean Waterways website if you like to do certificates. You can also use it towards counting towards rank advancement, and other recognition might be a part of a Conservation Good Turn Award as well. Next. And then they want us to share the stories, no matter what age, what group. You can share the story, enter information on Scoutbook, enter pictures and stories on the Facebook page, on the email the stories to cleanwaterscouts@scouting.org, share it with your council, local media, and then share the science. So the Marine Tracker app, you can download that, or you can access it through the Clean Water Scouts at scouting.org in order to be able to measure how many pounds of trash does your unit take out. And it's fun to keep track of that. Love pie charts and graphs. Okay, next. And then again, a great resource page if you want to get started, want to promote this with units. There's a quick guide, how to run a service project. Remember, keep that guide to safe scouting in the back of your mind. Make sure we're keeping everybody safe. The commitment to reduce plastic consumption, and then the website, Facebook page, and Facebook group. Next. So what are the benefits? Community service. Units are making a visible difference in their local area. Environmental education. Scouts are learning the importance of waste disposal, environmental protection, global sustainability. 2 merit badges come to mind, both Eagle required. So it's a great time to introduce that. National participation. Be part of a nationwide Scouting American initiative with a global impact. And then it showcases the positive impact of Scouting to the wider community. I'm going to turn it over to Dave.
Okay, thanks, Michelle, and thanks for that great overview and your enthusiasm for this important project. So I'm going to just talk about a couple of things. First, the specifics of the Scout Book, using Scout Book to report on your Scouting for Clean Waterways projects. While removing trash from the land that would go into water or from the water directly is really important. As Michelle was describing and alluding to there's also other benefits for doing this project. And we can really derive, as an organization, we can really derive the most benefit if we can record and capture information about, who's participated, how many scouts, how many pounds of trash, things like that. So if you can go to the next slide. This is and many of you have probably used Scout Book, so you're somewhat familiar with it. And there is already a service hour reporting function, but this will be a specific Scouting for Clean Waterways, so we can capture information particular to this project. And this particular page here is a mock-up. And it will be essentially the same as this. It may look identical to this. I know a couple of days ago when I looked, it wasn't quite there yet, but it should be either there already or coming very soon. And kind of the transition from Scout Book to Scout Book 2, there's a lot going on with the development there. So anyway, you'll see this available in Scout Book. Like I said, if it's not there already, it will be there very soon. But very basic. What's the project name? What date did you do the project? How many hours did you use? And then you can add the little button up at the top is to indicate who participated. So you can keep track for the scouts. It goes into their Scout Book record for doing service hours, for Star Life, whatever it may be, and then or for the kind of aggregating that for across your pack or your troop or your council. Okay, next slide. And so as I was just mentioning, really this gives us a lot of data which we can use for a variety of reasons. Outreach is in particular, and the community benefits, right? Positive messaging about scouting. So go ahead, Paul. So at this point, we're going to ask you to go into the chat, and I noticed there were some chat messages popping up with some questions and suggestions already. So if you can go onto the chat and suggest what kinds of unit activities, what kinds of district activities, something you might do at your camp. Hopefully your camp waterway is already clean, but if you're on an area that's a public beach or a public waterway, maybe there is some trash and an opportunity there. Are there things you can do at the council level? What partners might you work with? Could this be an opportunity for service with the Order of the Arrow? So let's share some things in chat, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. I see some messages popping up here.
And Jeffrey, I think this kind of helps yours a little bit. So a trash pickup is picking up macro trash, right? But what you're talking about, making the Genki balls, that's actually picking up micro trash. So the microplastics and stuff, the sludge that's within that. So yes, I would say that project that you do with the waterway group would fit this bill for that. You know, if you want a definite yes, no, I would ask Scott Anderson or send a note over to Scott Anderson to ask for sure. But since this is one way that well, here it'd be U.S. Fish and Wildlife on the mainland does a lot of things like this too, where they're picking out sludge or dealing with sludge issues. I don't know if it's the state park or who's monitoring that project, but in my mind, that would fit.
Yep, excellent, excellent. I see some more ideas popping up in the chat. And to follow up on Jeffrey's question and Michelle's response, while this is intended to be a nationwide service project, it's also intended to be flexible to be adapted to your local council. You know, you may be, or your pack or your troop, you may be near a river, you may be near a very large public beach. Your council may be on the ocean, or if you're Jeffrey and you're in Hawaii, your council is surrounded by the ocean. But you may be in places where there's less water. So really, it's kind of a general enough to be flexible for you to adapt to your local needs and area. For example, here where I am in Western Massachusetts, the Connecticut River is a major waterway that flows through our council, but it also it's between New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and so I'm hoping to involve multiple councils since the watershed organization that works on the Connecticut River actually runs a big cleanup day already in September, and a lot of the sub-watershed groups all run their projects on the same day, and around here, the water's a little warmer in September than it is in April. So just a little more realistic for us to go out on the water. The ice is usually gone, at least down by my area, up in northern Vermont and northern Connecticut. The ice might not even be gone in April. So basically, again, adapt to what makes sense for your group. And I'm seeing a lot of great ideas pop up here. I'm glad to see folks are thinking about this. And I like the idea of partnering because then, we can work with other community groups and let them know that Scouts are out there and that we're doing this kind of work and that we do conservation and we care about the natural environment. And it's a good opportunity for, public relations and letting people know about Scouting.
And one nice thing about this recording, if you see an idea that you like, when it's recorded, then when you go back and look, you'll be able to see some of those ideas. Bill, I saw yours river float down with a trash collection along the way. The picture that's on there, the Big Sioux River is the one that runs here through Sioux Falls. Our camp is on the Missouri River. But notice that we actually got some old laundry baskets and bungee corded them to the kayaks when we did ours several years ago. And so if you're thinking about ways, how can we kayak or canoe and have this thing? Canoes are a little bit easier and put the trash can in the middle. But if you have single kayaks, the laundry baskets bungee really nicely onto the front of the kayak, and we did them that way.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, local conservation districts, waterway stewards, Trout Unlimited. There's a great suggestion. I see this note here about Eagle Scout and DCSA projects. So we've talked about the DCSA, the Distinguished Conservation Service Award, on these roundtables before, so you can go into the archives and look for the details there. And there's a lot of information on the national website. And I see Chaudry also responded there. And I'm interested in folks' thoughts on that. You know, for your conservation service hours are part of your service hours for rank advancement. Could be an Eagle project, perhaps, if all the criteria is met. But with regard to the Distinguished Conservation Service Award, that award really is about, you know, initiative and kind of developing for the scout to develop an idea themselves. So I think there might be an opportunity there, but you would probably need to be careful and really think through how they could conduct a cleanup like this while also achieving kind of those and meeting the broader parameters for that award about initiative and design and all of that kind of thing. If it's just, you know, kind of going along and doing a project like this, there's anyway, some of the criteria around like lasting value and things like that may not be there. So you would need to think about how to broaden all that. Yep, and I see Gary, yes, small streams, not just rivers and oceans, can be cleaned during the year when not frozen. Well, some of us, they get frozen all the time, but, or the water is so cold, you have to be really careful. Adopt a storm drain, right? You want to keep the water out. Yep, so lots and lots of good ideas. So I think we'll save this chat and try to capture all that. Hopefully, Paul, you can help with that, or
we can do that.
I see the thumbs up. Yep, we'll capture the chat and try to share all of these. There's lots of great ideas. Yep, trash at camp waterfronts, right? Yep, national scenic rivers. So many opportunities, and I think Michelle mentioned this, and I'll talk about this a little bit too in a minute. But the idea of you know, engaging the trash on the land frequently becomes marine or aquatic trash. So in the spring, there are opportunities to do projects where you may not be in a canoe, and it doesn't matter as much that the water is still frozen or too cold, but you can still participate and maybe do, you know, Earth Day timeframe projects. I see a raised hand. Do we want to take questions now or comments, or do you want to wait until the end?
Up to you.
Yeah, John, if you want to go ahead and if you have something quick, and then we'll take also questions at the end.
Thank you, David. My question was, you talked about input to Scout Book. For those scouters who are not unit peoples, how do they access Scout Book to gain data? For example, our Council Conservation Committee. Over.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. I did see that. We're going to talk about that later, but just really quickly, you know, I imagine all of the units should have access to Scout Book in some way. And what we can do is you know, work with your council staff. You wouldn't say a council conservation committee wouldn't necessarily have, who's not affiliated with a unit wouldn't necessarily have Scout Book access directly, but you could, again, the majority of the people who are participating are going to be affiliated with the units. So you're going to capture those hours, and then they could be added in, if someone who's not directly affiliated with a unit, they could be added onto the hours from a unit, or the council could come up with a pretty simple website page for people to input, what they're doing.
So, David, you just suggested we do double accounting because
no, not necessarily double accounting, just for anything that's not being captured through Scout Book and the units.
Okay.
There's some other way to do it.
My point is the Council Conservation Committee wants to see hours, pounds gained, but the district and council members are not members of a unit and do not have visibility. They'd only have visibility of their own unit if they were on Scout Book. How do we gain district and council visibility of what's entered in Scout Book across a district or a council? Over.
Oh, right. Yeah, I understand your question. Right. Yeah, sure. So, for example, I'm the council commissioner for our council, and I have visibility into that kind of data. I can't go onto a unit's Scout Book and enter data on their Scout Book and say, John Smith did hours, but I can see that. So it kind of depends on your council and who's delegated what access, but at least some of the council leadership, your council vice president of program, et cetera, would have visibility into the service hours. There's on my.scouting.org, and there's a whole bunch of reports we have access to. So if you get stuck on that, let me know, and I'll be happy to help kind of navigate the specifics.
No doubt in my mind, I will be back to you. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Were there any other things you saw pop up, Michelle, or others?
Nope, I think we're good to keep going here.
Yeah, we will keep going then. So thanks for all the great ideas. Again, we'll take that chat and summarize it and post it along with all the other information here. So I want to go ahead to the next slide. And some of the information overlaps with what Michelle has covered, but we're putting them in here because this is really more, as John was saying, kind of more from a council conservation committee perspective. How do we think about doing this as a council-wide project or maybe a district project? How do we facilitate unit participation and things like that? So these slides might be something you would share with your council vice president of program, your council conservation committee, maybe one of your council camp director or program director, on the staff, to help them understand what this project is about. There have been there's been one webinar so far and another one coming up, targeted for council professional staff on this project. So hopefully they'll have at least some awareness of it, whether they participated in those webinars or not. I know lots of councils are short on staff these days, and this may not be the highest priority, but we really wanted to share this information with you so you can in turn, if you feel like this is a good fit for your council, that you can in turn take this information and share it with your leadership team. So yeah, go ahead, next. So again, this slide, you've seen this basics, but this really kind of frames the problem. One thing that I've heard, and I do a lot of environmental volunteer work, and unfortunately there are some issues that are more, or at least perceived to be much more controversial than others. But I've found that trash in waterways is something that it's pretty easy to get folks on board with. The amount of resources they would commit, and may vary from place to place, again depending on the council, but at least I think this is something that people really get, trash in the waterway is not good. So it, affects wildlife, it affects water quality, it affects us as people. So anyway, pretty easy to get people on board. Go ahead, Paul. And we've kind of mentioned the values of this, but again, this good is a great summary to really talk about and broaden the conversation with your council leadership beyond that idea of just getting, how many pounds of trash did we pick up? That positive impact, but so the positive impact can have multiple elements, right? Yeah, that's the one, right? Where it's, I have a Google alert set up for scouting and conservation for scouts and leave no trace. And I can tell you that it's very common for me to see almost every week, I see something in a local newspaper where a Cub Pack or an Eagle Scout did a project that was about cleaning up, or they were doing some conservation work, doing cleanup of a local park, things like that. So it's pretty easy to get good press on these kinds of things. In having folks out there, having photos, great photo ops, things like that. The community engagement. So you can take your group out, and whether that's participating in a project run by someone else, a cleanup project run by some other organization, like one of the many that were mentioned in the chat, or you run a project and invite others to participate. And that could be a way to find new members for your Cub Scout packs and your scout troops. It could be ways to find partners that you could work with on your council conservation committee that, that really see, hey, we have these, kids out here doing great work. It's an opportunity for education. Many of you are familiar with the new Cub Scout program that was rolled out earlier this year, and each of the levels has the champion for nature requirements, or the adventures. And so those, along with the merit badges that Michelle mentioned, et cetera, so we can really kind of tie this into the scouting program. Something that your again, council leadership may be interested in is fundraising potential. I don't think this is going to make or break a council budget, but there may be ways to write a grant proposal and get some funding to help at least promote this project, and perhaps pay for some staff time to help coordinate it, things like that. And those may be funding sources that you don't normally have access to. And then scouting values, connecting to scouting values. And of course, we know that environmental stewardship, conservation, and community service have been long time values. So really, again, this is really material that you can use in a conversation with your council leadership or your district leadership about how this could be a broader, kind of a broader project than just thinking about picking up trash. So go ahead, Paul. And so again, just kind of the summary, a slide that you could use, and kind of what's realistic for Cub Scouts to do, what's realistic for Scouts PSA to do, adventurers, how long of a project, things like that. Some other things to think about are what's already happening, in your community. And again, are there groups that are already doing these kinds of projects that you could partner with? Or is that a gap? And are there ways that scouting can help fill that gap? And being realistic about how does this fit in to your kind of your council calendar, your district calendar, all of those sorts of things. You know, is there someone on the council staff, on the professional staff, who can devote some time to help coordinate this? Or is it going to be all volunteer led? Do you have an active conservation committee that is really wants to engage on this? You know, what time of year is going to make the most sense, depending on whether your council calendar, what other events are happening, all of those sorts of things. I did see just a message there in the chat about safety, and I think that's a great, an excellent point. And so thinking about, again, is this a Cub Scout focused project, a Scouts BSA, adventurers? You know, what skills are they going to have? We're not going to, you know, send a bunch of Cub Scouts out as individuals on individual kayaks. We're going to be out, you know, trying to pick up trash and leaning over and tipping over and all of that thing, especially when the water is cold, right? So we need to think about the Guide to Safe Scouting, working with maybe our aquatics committee or our summer camp aquatics staff who understand, you know, those aspects and thinking about these sorts of things. You know, Cub Scouts aren't going to be doing paddling on moving water. So anyway, we absolutely want to think about all of that stuff. And related to that is the youth protection. If we're involving the community, either we have Scouts participating in a community project run by another organization, or the Scouts are running the project and inviting community members to participate. So we need to think about the youth protection considerations there too. So, so especially if you're going to do kind of a large scale, you know, project, there's a bunch of coordination to be aware of and think about. So, okay, NOAC. Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Lots of Scouts and adults who are already doing something like this. So that's great. That's great. And so this is a chance for us to not only do those kinds of projects, but also be recognized for it, and perhaps, you know, scale it up further. And something important to all Scouts is you can get a patch. Yeah, go ahead. Next slide. And so I just mentioned this. So in addition to the patch, there's also certificates been developed, and that's all ready to go. And then something else that, you know, I had not thought about, but apparently Scott is much wiser and he thinks about these kind of things more than I do, is you could also take this Scouting for Clean Waterways logo and develop it and use it for a you know, a local council patch, you know, to recognize the Scouts who participate. So lots of good ideas. Go ahead next. And we're almost done. So in addition to reporting on the Scout Book app, you can also the Facebook group, and you can send email if you have a news article, you know, if it's covered in the local newspaper or whatever it may be, or you do a YouTube video. You can, you know, send links into this email address, cleanwaterscouts@scouting.org. And again, it's important to engage the local media too. And Michelle mentioned about the Marine Tracker app. So lots of resources available for you to use in what makes sense within your you know, local context. You can go ahead and next. And so a few other resources that are available, and these links are in the slides. You'll see them in a couple of slides here, where you can download these, you know, posters, flyers, and graphics and things like that that you could use for for your local promotion. And there's space at the bottom of these for them to be customized, you know, to advertise a particular event date, or your council name, etc. You go ahead. And more or less, this is what I was just mentioning. You know, all these resources are available and you know, posted on that website. And more information will be added there, including things like you know, sample media alerts, press releases, etc. that you could use to customize for your local PAC, troop, district, council, whatever it may be. You go ahead. And not going to go through all of these links, but basically this is, you know, the various material that's available on the site there. Michelle went into detail, you know, the Cub Scouts, the Scouts BSA, venturing, etc. So lots of useful links. But that website is really the place that's going to have all these resources. Go ahead. And I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle to go through this last part, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep. So just a couple of additional resources that weren't in the presentation. Who polluted, for those that like to do some sort of a background information, because again, a trash pickup, is it conservation? This is trash pickup with a lot of learning and hands-on pieces that go with it. It's not just, oh, here's a bag, go pick up trash without any background pieces. This is, we're going to be taking pollution and potential dangers out of our waterways in order to have a more healthy environment, healthy us. This is one of the activities that I've often used. Some people who are at COEA that I've done and stuff have seen me do this activity, the Who Polluted the River, where it actually goes through, here was a pristine river thousands of years ago, and here are all the things that have added pollution to that. And so I've gotten several emails about where do we find that activity. So I went ahead and put it on here. So Who Polluted the River goes through everything from natural litter, leaf sticks, all the way up to oils, plastics, chip bags. A quicker version, Leave No Trace, has a Would You Drink It activity. I've done this one when we've been at like our community park, just doing a quick booth. This is a much quicker version of Who Polluted a River, where you have a water bottle and you talk about sunscreen and bug spray and all of the little things that we would be carrying in our packs. So another little great promotion for a booth or unit promotion activity. And if you're doing an online or you have a video, this is one of my favorites. The Majestic Plastic Bag sounds like David Attenborough talking about the life cycle of a plastic bag. So it's a great little video to watch. Older Scouts really like this one. They get the satire of it. So it's a great way to introduce this whole activity. Some community partners, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Volunteer Services, I included that link. As well as EPA partnerships. So if you don't know of a cleanup in your area, I know a lot of people have put a lot of good resources on there. But if you need a quick, what's in my area, these would be two that are run by the government. There's also Living Lands and Waters, 25 rivers in 21 states. And Dave has followed this organization a little bit more, but they also have a lot of where are things happening when it comes to our waterways. If you want more information, just to, again, build your schema or build your background information, the U.S. Park Service has a Protecting the Waterways little PDF that you can get some. And then, of course, we cannot forget the Guide to Safe Scouting, which will answer so many of our safety questions. Where is it safe to walk? Where is it safe to be? At what age do we use what tools? All of that. So please make sure you're using the Guide to Safe Scouting, as well as Safety Afloat and Safe Swim Defense if you're actually going to be in the water or near the water's edge. those are just crucial to keep everybody safe while we're doing these projects.
If I could just jump in here, guys. Everybody, Dave just posted the link to the Scouting for Clean Waterways page in the chat. So you might want to grab that and save that as a bookmark right now. The rest of these links, the 732 links, I think I counted here or something like that. What I will be doing is I will make a PDF of this presentation and we will upload that to the roundtable website, and all those links will be active in there. So rather than call them out and have these bare links and go, what the heck does this do? You'll see them in context and you'll be able to click them right in the PDF. So that's what you can look for when we post this, hopefully by early next week. Okay, sorry. Back to you, Michelle. So.
Nope, that was perfect, Paul. Thanks.
Okay.
Again, if there were questions that Dave and I couldn't answer, please don't hesitate to send them to the email and we will get those to Scott to be able to add more information in the next coming months as things are starting to happen with it. So I don't think I saw any other questions come up. Dave, did you?
No, I don't think so. I'm kind of scanning back through now. I would say if we missed something, what are the requirements for the patch? That is a good question. It is basically to participate in one of these projects and record your hours. And so we don't expect a Cub Scout to plan a whole cleanup by themselves and all of that sort of thing. They just need to participate. And I don't think the patches are available on scoutshop.org yet, but I know the patch is designed and the patch is kind of ready to go, and they're making them and all of that sort of thing. So anyway, yeah. So then you would go online and there were links there where you'll be able. Yeah, there's a link where you can go on and order it. So. And I see.
So one of the questions was, are you all looking at building more formal relations with these types of organizations such as Trouts Unlimited, Ducks Unlimited, whatever that, that's really up to your area. Again, we cover everybody across the globe. So not everybody has access to all of the organizations that could help with this. So as a community partner, work with your council, outdoor ethics and conservation teams, with your program, camps, whoever's kind of coordinating that, to work with those partners more on a local level rather than a national level.
Mm-hmm. If I will just following up there are a couple of national, partners for this project. Having worked at the national committee level for a while now on this stuff, I can let you know that the Scouts, while we're very happy to work with other organizations, establishing formal national partnerships is quite a hurdle. And we tend to not do that for a variety of reasons. But that doesn't mean you can't, as Michelle was saying, that doesn't mean you can't work with them locally. It's just a matter of, again, kind of the national partnerships can be sometimes a little, challenging to navigate. So.
Amber has her hand raised.
Oh, right. Yep.
Amber?
Yeah, okay. I think I got unmuted. So I was the one that asked the requirements for the patches because I think it would be something that our local MS4, I don't know if everybody's familiar with what an MS4 is, but it's a municipal separate storm sewer system. Basically, it's a state, city, town, or even a university that's required to do education and everything regarding these waterways and storm drains in that location. So I think that would be a great partnership. I know when I have a meeting in a couple weeks with our local Southwestern Indiana MS4 group that we have. I'm going to let them know of this initiative that you guys have put out so that maybe they can reach out to even scouts for projects that they need, like adoption of a storm drain, or if they need a waterway specifically picked up. That would be a great resource to go to see what is needed for that local location.
Yeah, that's I'm putting another link in the chat there. Yeah, MS4 permits. If you've been involved with water conservation and environmental stuff, you probably cross paths with that sometime. It's probably a little far down in the weeds for most scouts, but that's an excellent point, that it's not only other nonprofits, but your local government organizations and et cetera may really be maybe great resources for places where there are problems that need to be addressed. They can help with promotion, help provide contacts, et cetera. So yeah, excellent point. Yep. And I see another note about sea-base, right? So we kind of mentioned this really quickly, but yeah, and it's on the website that this Scouting for Clean Waterways really kind of came from the seed of this idea came from sea-base. And so I see the question here: would it be considered double dipping if they use this for the patch? Only asking. You will get hit with that question. Okay, James. Well, I don't think it's we want scouts to go out and be recognized for the work they do. I don't think it hurts for them to also go out a second time and clean up local waterways too. I'm sure they were very inspired by all the great cleanup that they did down at sea-base. So hopefully they'll want to go back and pick up some more trash wherever you are locally.
Okay.
But I wouldn't deny a scout a patch, if they really, really wanted it. Yeah,
Thank you.
I see one more question about leave no trace training, and we'll go back to that. So maybe anything else
we can take that one after the roundtable. If you can stick around for a couple minutes,
Yep.
we'll be able to dive into that. So.
Yep, and
Right.
yeah, Ross Stoll, yeah, and this again, potential sources of grant funding. Exactly right. Yep. So yeah, good suggestion. So great conversation, and thanks for all of the great ideas in the chat. So
Super. I have a feeling that this discussion could go on for a while, but I think it's time to move on here. This has been wonderful. I think we got a lot of thought going in a lot of different ways and partners that we can be working with. Scott Anderson couldn't join us this evening, but he did record a FAQ for us. And so I will play that for you now. And I would ask if anybody, the sound's not coming through, please let me know. I think I've got this set up right.
Greetings, everybody. I hope everyone had wonderful family celebrations over these holidays, and I wish you all a very happy new year. Our frequently asked question this month: how can I serve with outdoor ethics and conservation on the 2026 National Jamboree Staff? Well, first, the National Jamboree is going to be held in the summer of 2026, July 22nd through the 31st, at the Summit Vector Reserve in Glen Jean, West Virginia. And I hope you'll join us. The registration has now opened for Jamboree service team members. And if you would like to find more information on the cost and what is involved in being a member of the Jamboree staff, please go to the link posted here, jamboree.scouting.org/staff. And there's a whole FAQ section there, and all that information that you would need to know to serve on staff is provided there. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our needs. Our Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Subcommittee fully supports the Conservation Trail. And we are actively recruiting 4 groups of volunteers. The first is that Conservation Trail General Staff. After that, we are looking for a team to support our Outdoor Ethics exhibit. the Sustainability Treehouse, and a new exhibit on Scouts for SDGs. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of those. So the Conservation Trail General Staff provides support for the exhibitors on the Conservation Trail, staffs the Conservation Trail Welcome Tent, and supports the Distinguished Conservation Service Award exhibit. The lead for that group will be Mike Honeyke, who is the general chair of the Conservation Trail, excuse me. And he'll be supported by Stephen Skinnell and Kevin Holcomb. The next one is our Outdoor Ethics exhibit. This is a big interactive exhibit. We have an impact trail as well as games and activities. And Pastor Scott Johnson serves as the lead for that. And we are generally looking for a full staff of Leave No Trace instructors to help support that effort. The next is probably the most popular of all of these, and that's the Sustainability Treehouse. The Sustainability Treehouse is a permanent exhibit at the Summit Vector Reserve, and Morgan Buckner will be serving as the lead. She's been on staff there for now 3 different jamborees, as well as a summer staff at the Summit Vector Reserve, and a wonderful person to work with. As Scouts go through this exhibit, they learn about how they can create a more sustainable world. And then the last one is a brand new exhibit that we're developing to help support the UN Sustainable Development Goals called Scouts for SDGs. And I'll be serving as the lead on that one. All 4 of these groups are looking for staff, and we are looking to recruit about 100 volunteers to service all 4 of those areas. So how can you get more information? Well, as I said before, if you want to find the resources directly about serving on staff, that can be found at the jamboree.scouting.org/staff. And there you'll find all the information on what it takes to become a member of Jamboree staff. If you'd like, you could join our 2026 Conservation Trail Staff Facebook group. And it is here that we're going to try to share information about serving on staff at each of our groups, answering questions that directly pertain to serving on staff with us. So both of these resources are there to help guide your decision making. And we certainly hope that you will join us and be a part of serving on Jamboree staff, either with outdoor ethics and conservation or in any other area that interests you. So thank you for all you do to support outdoor ethics and conservation and scouting. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. And now it's time for some announcements. So as we announced last month in December, the outdoor ethics-bsa.org is going away. It's mostly gone away, actually, at this point. The new address is scouting-oec.org. So most of the web pages, if not all, have been moved already. If you go to one of the old websites, you'll find it redirects you, and if you look up in your address bar, you'll see the new address. I highly recommend that you go to any links you've got, go to that page, find the new address and save it, because the old outdoor ethics-bsa.org addresses will be going away at some point in the not distant future. So if you've got some of those addresses saved in your personal browsers, or if you've got them on any web pages that you maintain, you might want to check those. If you've got them in documents that you hand out forever for anything, check those. So just some ideas, go through and make sure you're catching all those and update those web addresses. If you have a problem, find anything broken, please let Mark Hammer know, and he'll get it fixed. He's got a 100% track record with me so far, so it's pretty impressive. So wanted everybody to know about that. Next year, level 2 instructor courses. There are 7 on the books already. That's pretty awesome. I had to go to a small font on this chart. I like having to go to the smaller font. So if you have not taken a level 2 course, highly recommend you think about taking one of these. If you know somebody who would be a good candidate for a level 2 course, please recommend it to them. Check out. If funding is an issue for anyone who wants to take one of these courses, scholarships are available, and the information on those scholarships is at the link, the Dan Howell Scholarship, at the link on this page. So hope to see a lot of new people in level 2 courses in 2025. But wait, there's more. Michelle, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yep. So for our COEAs and team leads, the end of year reports, again, Mark has been doing a great job getting everything transferred over. Look for an email coming soon. We're just putting the final little bits on it, and then that'll be going out. So look for an email invitation soon to fill out your 2024 annual report. Again, it's a way for us to take a look at what's happening and make sure that everybody is being serviced in a way that is responsible and helpful to you and your area. And lets us know where we need additional support. If you, for example, if you are finding that you're not getting enough volunteers to help with trainings, how can we help support that? So by having those annual reports and verification, so we know who is still teaching, that helps us out a lot. The other news that we're putting the final touches on, we've been asked for and are scheduling a virtual COEA training. Our first one will be Saturday, February 8th and Saturday, February 22nd. You need to attend both dates. So I put in just the central time, so add or subtract as you need to for your time zone. The times will be 9:30 to 2:30 Central Time for both of those days. Paula, John, and I will be your hosts for that event. And again, you can register by emailing just here at the roundtable at scouting.or/oec.org with the subject line COEA training. And we just need your name, email, and BSA ID number and council. That helps us a lot know where people are coming from. I know there are some people who have asked about a Sunday training date. We are working on dates for that, but look for that end of April or sometime in March, April, May. We'll try to come up with a Sunday one if that works better for you. There was another question about the level 1 courses when the trainer, so the trainers are already gone. Trainers are now level 1 instructors. And as far as those updates go, I believe Leave No Trace is sending out the updated version of the refresher course in June or July. Does anybody remember the exact date? That will come directly from Leave No Trace. And stuff. But if you are currently a level 1 instructor, I believe you could still go on Leave No Trace and do the current refresher. It'll just be the new refresher comes out later middle of this year. That's all I have. Thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
I'd just like to add that there is another level 2 course. It's going to be in Greater Yosemite Council, and there's going to be a trek and a non-trek course. So there'll be 2 courses, and that will be up there soon. Mark does have the flyer.
Right. Do you know the dates?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the other thing. August 25th to the 30th. It's a week long.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And by the way,
for those that
everybody,
for those that are looking at Cascade Pacific, they are also looking at a non-trek or a trek experience, depending on numbers. Their flyer should be available shortly as well for Cascade Pacific in early August.
I talked about updating web addresses, and Mark pointed out that there are 2 on this page that I have not updated yet. So next month they'll be updated. But anyway, you've written these addresses down probably in a bunch of places. So just a reminder, go and update them. And with that, once again, please send me pictures I can put in here and make these slides interesting. I'd love to see all different parts of the country from all different people, scouts doing great things. Let's if you got some pictures you can send to me or send me a link to them, that would be awesome. Feedback is always greatly appreciated. So here's another one I need to update. I have the wrong web address. It's roundtable at scouting-oec.org. So see, I'm guilty, but I catch all this stuff. So but
All the emails should be forwarded for a while here too. So you can still use the old emails. They should get forwarded.
Yep. And this is why Mark gives us some time, because I miss things. So we all miss things. Thank you. And closing, I'd like to talk about this one. I'm in Richmond, and we just got some snow, and it's been several years since we've had snow here, and it's been really cool, all the things that I've been able to see with the snow that you didn't even realize. And so here's from Sand County Almanac. The fresh tracks of 3 deer, clear in yesterday's snow, passed through our woods. I follow the tracks backward and find a cluster of 3 beds clear of snow. The deer have pawed at some grass tufts, nuzzling for the tender green spouts within, and they've also drunk at a spring. It's just amazing what you can see with the wildlife. And some of the things are not necessarily even seeing the tracks, but the snow started to melt yesterday, and all these tracks, animal tracks, showed up because the snow melted there first because it was compacted, and you couldn't see them beneath the duff before, but it just kind of magically showed. I don't know if you can see in this picture here, it might be kind of small on your screen, but there's a deer there in a bed. So they're out there. This is a great time of year to go find wildlife, signs of wildlife, and get yourself energized, and more importantly, go out and get the youth energized. Take advantage of this time of year to find all kinds of things new and exciting to explore. So once again, thank you for coming. Recordings of all of our roundtables are posted at, I got the address right here, at our roundtable website. And expect to see this within a week here. There's several of us in the process here, so I can't tell you exactly how long it'll take, because that's just how it goes. But we try and get it up within about a week or so. And next month, our roundtable topic will be who we are and what we do. So the program operations team from the Outdoor Ethics and Conservation Committee will introduce some of the people and find out what they are, what are the things we're trying to do for you, and how do you get in touch with us and help us to help you. So look forward to seeing everybody next month. With that, I think we're done. And thank you very much for attending the roundtable.